Hi, it's Sally-Shakti, your visionary writing guide, and welcome to Tarot and Astrology for Visionary Writers from Monday the 11th to Sunday the 17th of December 2023. And this week, I really want to focus on the energy of Sagittarius. We have the new moon in Sagittarius coming up tomorrow on Tuesday, the 12th of December. That's at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. And we also have the Galactic Centre at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. The Galactic Centre is, so far as I understand, in my current understanding, the point at which the galaxy that we are traveling in revolves around. Like the sun is the center of our solar system, there is the center of the galaxy, and we connect to it through the point of 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So on our current axis, the Earth's relationship with the sun is coming close to that connection with 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So we have a few things going on this week that will activate and magnify our momentum forward, crossing the threshold of the end of this calendar year 2023 as we move into and through the solstice as well, and into the beginning of next calendar year 2024. Mercury's journey retrograde will carry us across that threshold and will also interact with the Galactic Centre at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So what's happening this week energetically, and where can we set our intention, and what can we look out for? We're just passing out now of the last few days of having the moon in its dark phase in the sign of Scorpio, which I was reminded about by my good friend and sister priestess astrologer Lexi Wrightson. She asked me just before the weekend, how do you feel about going into dark moon in Scorpio? And I hadn't really looked at it that way. So just before we have the new moon in Sagittarius, the moon has traveled through another dark phase in the sign of Scorpio. This may have, for you, it certainly has done for me, reactivated those alchemical medicines, the deep layers of transformation and transmutation that we've been working through, that perhaps we thought we were complete with last month. But as the moon, and especially traveling close to Venus, the planet Venus, who is also in Scorpio, as the moon and Venus have been close together in the moon's dark phase through the sign of Scorpio, you may have felt a reactivation of some of those alchemical transformation tensions that have been coming back up to the surface from Scorpio's cauldron or deep well of alchemy and transformation. You might have experienced the reactivation of some traumas and triggers that you thought you were complete with, that have come back up to the surface over this weekend and this last couple of days. Remember, as I said in my last video, that Venus traveling through the sign of Scorpio is carrying the energy of Lilith, the energy of rejection, abandonment, being cast out. Maybe some of those sensations have been present or closer to the surface for you these last couple of days. So what happens now as the sun is in the sign of Sagittarius and the moon now moves into sign of Sagittarius to meet up with and connect with the sun at 20 degrees of Sagittarius. From that place of darkness, from that place of the lowest depths and that deep emotional trauma, turmoil, transformation, comes the spark of wisdom, the spark of new life, new possibility, new potential. And that spark is the fiery arrow of Sagittarius. Sagittarius being the centaur, the archer, very close relationship with the asteroid Chiron, the wounded healer. Coming out of that state of deep alchemy and transformation, being at our lowest point emotionally, our lowest depths, from that deep well of emotion comes the spark of healing, the spark of transformation, the spark of new life, new potential, new possibility, and especially in Sagittarius, new wisdom. What new wisdom can we connect with from that emotional center that we have been deep down in these last couple of days and over the last few weeks and months through Scorpio season? Tomorrow we have the numerology of 1212. It feels like a balance point, a reopening of a portal. And we have this energy of mutable fire. We have the arrow of wisdom, of transformation, of new life and healing and possibility that is ready to fly out of the darkness from the deepest depths of our most difficult layers of transformation. A new light, a new spark is ready to be reborn. Remember also Scorpio and the season of Samhain take us into that death so that we can allow ourselves to be reborn. We have to enter the death phase of the cycle and be there, allow ourselves to be there, allow ourselves to go there, to spend time there, to fully surrender and let go, so that the spark of new life can be born within us, and we can carry that across the threshold of this of the completion of this cycle of the seasons and into the beginning of the next cycle. This fiery arrow, the new life, the rebirth of Sagittarius, feels like to me that it has a strong connection with the season of Imbolc, when the fire, the forge of new life is relit and reawoken. So this is the spark of life that is going to carry us across that threshold of the deepest darkness here in the Northern Hemisphere as we go into the winter solstice, the longest night, the shortest day, the deepest darkness and stillness. Remember, solstice means that the sun stands still on the horizon for 3 days. It rises and sets at the same point for 3 days and then begins to move. So it's now at its most southerly point. It's reaching its most southerly point on the horizon at the winter solstice. And then it will begin after 3 days of stillness at its most southerly point on the eastern horizon. This is sunrise. Will begin to move in a northerly direction and meet us back to those longest days of daylight again. That's too much to go into right now. So we're moving into the darkest time, the darkest season of the year. But what we have to carry us through is the spark of life, the fiery arrow of Sagittarius that we can ignite within ourselves now at this Sagittarius new moon, and we can fire that forward until we reach the season of Imbolc, when it will reignite the forge of our creative potential, so that we can recreate the next cycle of seasons. But I'm jumping ahead of myself, so let's stay with this Sagittarius new moon. Out of the darkness, out of the death of Scorpio and Samhain season, comes this spark of life. And on 12/12, tomorrow, at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, we can set our intentions to reignite our creativity. And we can also know that that arrow is going to be carried, first of all, through the dark seasons before it perhaps finds the light and the life that it is moving towards. So it may not manifest immediately. We're going to carry it with us through the dark season into the next cycle of seasons. But we can set that intention for, with Sagittarius, really, it's about the highest vision for ourselves, our highest potential, what we want to know, what we want to learn, the wisdom that we seek. The Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so Sagittarius is really a lot about expansion, learning, abundance, purpose, calling in the highest version and the highest vision of ourselves to bring that creative spark of possibility into our hearts and to fire it into the next cycle of seasons, so that we can become it as we journey around the cycle of next year's seasons. This Sagittarius new moon has the beautiful potential as well to carry our intentions for our highest purpose, our highest version and vision of ourselves into the Galactic Centre at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So we can imagine, as we set our intentions on Tuesday, the 12th of December, with the Sagittarius new moon, so that's the sun and the moon conjunct at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, the sun and the moon meeting up. Remember, the moon is carrying with it that energy of Venus as Lilith traveling through Scorpio, whispering to the sun, what are our deepest desires? What is the version of ourselves that we are afraid will be rejected and cast out? Who are we in our deepest desire to be fully ourselves, that we have suppressed because we have been afraid that version, that self, that vision of who we are is too big, too much, too strong, too powerful to be accepted? This is the version of ourselves that Venus in Scorpio is urging us to step into, to embody, to become. Perhaps you've had some whispers of that over the last few days with the moon and Venus traveling together. Who are you when you are standing in your truth, standing in your strength, standing in your full light and power and potential, embodying your purpose unapologetically, shining in your full true reality? And have you met with resistance, rejection, reaction to that embodied divine version of yourself on your path and in your practice? Because that is the version of you that Venus in Scorpio is asking you to call forward now, to put that intention, to sow that seed into the Sagittarius new moon, and to fire that arrow so that that arrow will keep you burning through the darkness and reignite at the time of your rebirth as we move through the cycle of the seasons next year. And we have the added potential. Not only is Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, so we have the expansive energy of Jupiter on our side, but on Wednesday, the day after the new moon in Sagittarius, the moon itself will come around to 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So the moon will carry that vision, will carry that arrow, that fire, that intention, and connect it up with the energy of the Galactic Centre. When I tuned in before this video to get a sense of what is the Galactic Centre and what does it mean astrologically, I was told the Galactic Centre is where new worlds are formed. It is where new possibilities are born. The Galactic Centre is where new worlds are formed. It is where new possibilities are born. So this new version of yourself, this expanded, expansive, unapologetic, embodied, divine, purposeful version of who you truly are, is being born through the Galactic Centre. And we can set our intention with the Sagittarius New Moon to fire that arrow into the Galactic Centre, to connect with that highest, most divine, most powerfully embodied and unapologetic version of who we truly are. To bring that version of ourselves into form through our bodies, through our healing, through our practice, and through the light that we shine and the visionary and creative work that we do in the world. What would it mean? What would it look like for you, for me, to step up and show up as a more divinely embodied version of who we truly are, and to bring that forward, not only in ourselves and in our lives, but also in our visionary and creative work in the world? Can we feel in our hearts the resonance that is calling to us from the Galactic Centre, from that divinely embodied version of yourself? Can you hear the whispers? Can you sense what that person, what that version of you would look like? What would they feel like? What would their daily routine be like? What would their practice be like? What would you be showing up to share with the world in your fullness, standing in your fullness, centered in your fullness, sharing and radiating your fullness, knowing that from that place of fullness, you can never be empty or depleted? Can we connect with that version of ourselves, even briefly, so that we can fire that arrow and bring that vision into our hearts, into our bodies, and into our lived reality? So the moon is going to take that arrow and connect it up with the Galactic Centre at 27 degrees of Sagittarius the day after, the very next day after we set those intentions on the new moon. The sun then will also continue on its journey through Sagittarius, and next week, next Tuesday, so the week after, on the 19th, the sun will connect with the Galactic Centre at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So the sun will magnify and expand and bring this vision into who we are, our identity, how we show up in the world. We have a strong invitation this week to journal with and set intentions for that bigger vision for who we are ready to become, the version of yourself that you are ready to step into, the frequency that you are ready to embody, and the light that you are ready to shine through your life and your work and your practice. What does it feel like when you tune into that version of yourself on an energetic level? How does it open your heart? How does your body want to carry itself? How does this version of you embody on this planet? And what is the light that you are truly here to share? We have the opportunity to tune into that this week as we have the new moon in Sagittarius, and then both the sun, or both the moon and the sun, moving into connection with the Galactic Centre to carry that vision, to help us to connect with that vision and embody that vision and call in that version of ourselves that is being newly formed and newly born in the Galactic Centre and through that portal that we are moving through. We also have Mercury making connection with the Galactic Centre. In fact, Mercury would have already, this isn't a little thing I'm going to check, Mercury would have already passed by the Galactic Centre. So let me just check when that happened. 29th of November, Mercury passed through the Galactic Centre. So Mercury has already been in connection with the Galactic Centre. Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is bringing us those messages from the Galactic Centre, who we truly are, the vision that is opening up for you now, the possibilities that are being born for you now, to embody more of yourself, to embody more of your fullest, unapologetic light, and to radiate that divine light, your own spark of divinity, into the world through your life, your work, and your visionary and creative practice. So Mercury has already been whispering to us what that might look like, because Mercury has been in connection with the Galactic Centre on the 29th of November, brought that message to us. Now Mercury on Wednesday, the 13th, Wednesday this week, Mercury goes direct and Mercury goes retrograde and will stay retrograde until we cross the threshold into next year, and we'll station direct on the 2nd of January. So Mercury from Wednesday will now be retrograde for the rest of this calendar year. And Mercury will retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Mercury has retrograded in earth signs 3 times this year. Mercury starts its retrograde period in the sign of Capricorn, and then it goes back into the fire sign of Sagittarius and crosses back over the Galactic Centre again on Christmas Day, on the 25th of December. So we'll be getting messages again back from the Galactic Centre, who we are embodying, how we want to show up in the world, what is the highest vision and version of ourselves, truly manifesting our purpose in our visionary and creative writing and practice in our lives. And then Mercury goes direct and will cross the Galactic Centre again on the 11th of January, 11-1 or 1-11. So we've got that numerology again, 11-1, 1-11, all the ones, new beginnings. Mercury is going to bring back for us again the final time the messages from the Galactic Centre of how. Because Mercury will have retrograded from Capricorn back into Sagittarius and then passes back through into Capricorn again after going direct and after passing through the Galactic Centre for the third and final time. Capricorn is about how. Capricorn is about the plans, the practical steps, the daily rituals of what we are going to do, how we are going to make the plan work. So that might not be clear right now as Mercury goes retrograde, but from 1/11 or 11/1, the 11th of January, we get that sense, that energy of new beginnings, new creation, new possibilities, and Mercury will be carrying forward that whisper from the Galactic Centre of how. So Sagittarius will help us to receive the vision, that what does it look like? What does it feel like? What do you want to show up as? All of these kind of the vision of who we can be, who we are truly here to embody as we journey through and into this next cycle of seasons around the sun. Who are we becoming? Who are we here to step into? What is the highest version of ourselves that we can embody and radiate and bring forward into the world through our life and practice as we journey through our next cycle around the sun? Sagittarius New Moon is giving us the vision of what that looks like, what it feels like, what we want, what we desire, what our purpose is, what our project is, what our highest vision is, what our highest version of ourselves can be, what is possible for us as we cross this threshold and begin our next cycle of seasons around the sun. What is possible for us to become? What is possible for us to embody? It might not be clear immediately how. How do we embody that version of ourselves? How do we become that highest vision that we've seen? Because Mercury retrograde is going back to check the steps. What are the practicalities? How are we going to do this? How are we going to bring it into form? The earth signs. Capricorn. And so when Mercury goes direct again and passes through the Galactic Centre, receiving that wisdom, this is the new version of you that is being born. These are the new possibilities that are being formed. And this is how to make steps from where we are now to what we want to become. And I see that really playing forward throughout the next cycle of the seasons. And the final thing I want to say about these energies is that Mercury retrogrades in the sign of Capricorn and travels back. So the earth sign of Capricorn travels back into the fire sign of Sagittarius and then moves forward again through the earth sign of Capricorn. So we get those practical steps. We get the practical, how are we going to do this? But it's also a foreshadowing of the shift in energy that Mercury will be bringing to us through the next cycle of seasons. So this year, Mercury has retrograded 3 times in the earth signs: Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Hopping back into the fire sign of Sagittarius this year, how does that feel? Mercury retrograde in the fire sign, because that is the energy that Mercury will be carrying forward into next year. Next year's Mercury retrogrades will all be in the fire signs: Aries, Leo, and then Sagittarius again. There is a little crossover in that Leo retrograde, where the retrograde begins in Virgo and then retrogrades back into Leo. So it will be an earth sign back into a fire sign again. So we've got this energy shifting. Mercury's energy is shifting from earth sign retrogrades to fire sign retrogrades. And Mercury is bringing back with it the how to, the practical steps of how we will embody that vision. And then Mercury will retrograde through the fire signs next year. So it will keep on asking us to reconnect with that vision, that highest version of ourselves that we have called in. So we have some deep and powerful and important work to do this week. With the Sagittarius New Moon on 12/12, I recommend some journaling, some visualization, calling in that highest frequency version of yourself, the divine embodiment of your own spark of life, the unapologetic fullness of who you truly are and who you are here to be. Create and call in and embody the energy of that vision of yourself, that version of yourself at your most fully creative potential. Write your intentions and manifestations. Write your intentions and manifestations, and then perhaps burn them on a candle flame. Send them on the flame, on the spark of fire, safely, of course, into the Galactic Centre on the arrow of Sagittarius New Moon. Let that intention for yourself fly into the portal of the Galactic Centre, where you can then connect with it and call that version, that expansive, fully embodied version of yourself into being as it is being born, as the possibilities are being formed through that portal of the Galactic Centre. So I'd like to offer a visualization for that practice. I recommend having your notebook to hand and giving yourself some time to journal with, calling in that vision of the highest version of yourself. Who is the you that you are ready to step into and embody and become through the next cycle of the seasons? What are you ready to call in? What is your purpose? What will you share? How will you shine your light through your life and your visionary writing and creative practice? So those are some inquiries that we can make to help us to find the clarity to then set that intention that we are going to set on fire and shoot into the Galactic Centre, to connect with that biggest, highest, most powerful and embodied divine version of who we truly are and who we truly came here to be. So once you have your affirmation and you have clarity on what it is you're calling in, let's take a moment to find the support of the earth beneath you. The support that allows your belly to soften, your breath to deepen. Letting out some sound on the exhale. Finding also the simultaneous opening and rising as you allow yourself to be held by the body of the earth. There's also a freeing and a liberation that allows you to grow taller and reach higher and open more to receive. So drawing up from the center of the earth, that creative fire, that molten fire of life that is being born, possibilities of new potential. Breathing that molten fire up from the belly of the earth, through your own roots, the soles of your feet, up through your legs into the base of your spine. When you receive it there in the base of your spine, just allowing it to gather there, allowing your pelvis to be the bowl, the basin, the lotus flower, the vessel, the chalice that holds this liquid molten fire that you are drawing up with every breath from the center of the earth. This is creative new possibility in motion coming from the body of the earth itself. With every exhale, allowing your chalice to expand, so that with every inhale you are filling up to fullness. With every exhale you are expanding your capacity to hold that creative fire of life within you. Drawing up from the earth, and with your next exhale, allowing two sparks, two flames to reach and rise up all the way to the crown of your head and beyond. Connecting in with the Galactic Centre, let the fiery arrow of Sagittarius guide you and find your mark. Keep going with this breath. So we're inhaling the liquid fire from the belly of the earth into the base of your spine, and exhaling that fire all the way up, out through the crown of your head, and gliding with the arrow of Sagittarius to connect with the Galactic Centre. Just keep that breath going, inhaling up from the center of the earth, exhaling fire rising all the way up to the crown of your head and beyond, as it glides to the center of our galaxy on the fiery arrow of the Sagittarius New Moon. Finding an awareness in your heart, your center. That awareness in your heart, your center, of bringing those two fires together. So drawing up the liquid fire from the belly of the earth, and drawing down the spark of creative possibility from the center of the galaxy, and finding them both meeting in your heart. Creative fire of potential and the creative fire of possibility and new life, new form, meeting and melting in your heart center. Bringing that fire back down to the base of your spine, where every inhale you're filling your cup, and every exhale your cup is expanding to receive more. Grounding and embodying the fullness of yourself, the highest vision and version of who you can be, the creative possibility of your passion, your power, and your purpose. Embodying into the fullness of your divine, radiant self. Becoming aware of your feet on the ground, the seat that's supporting you. Finding some breath, some movement, some touch, the edges of your body. Bringing yourself back into this reality, knowing that you are now carrying with you the divine blueprint of your most powerful and purposeful self. And if you need to take a few minutes to journal with what you've just received, then that would be a really great way to anchor that vision and to keep coming back to it, to remind yourself of who you are becoming as we cross this threshold through the darkness into the next round of our cycle of the seasons around the sun. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm sending you so much love.